Hello, crime fans. Andrew True Crime is with you. In this haunting tale from France, the disappearance of a young beauty pageant contestant and her mother unravels a web of secrets and the price paid to keep them hidden. The story revolves around 19-year-old Alison Benitez and her mother Marie-José Benitez, and the events that transpired in the summer of 2013. It all began on a Monday evening when Cindy Philippiac, the organizer of the regional French beauty pageant, Miss Roussillon, noticed Alison's absence from the prep meeting. As a former winner herself, Cindy knew how committed her contestants were, especially with the pageant less than a month away. The winner of Miss Roussillon would go on to compete for the coveted title of Miss France, making this a crucial time for the participants. As minutes turned into hours, concern grew among the other contestants. They had all become friends over the months of preparation, and they knew Alison would never miss such an important meeting without notice. Being a teenager, her cell phone was practically an extension of her body, making her lack of communication all the more worrisome. Alison's mother, Marie-José, was known to be just as excited about the pageant as her daughter. The pageant moms formed an elite group, and Marie-José's absence alongside Alison's was equally troubling. However, not everyone in the group knew every aspect of their lives. Lydia, Marie-José's oldest daughter and Alison's sister, had a different perspective on the situation. The evening before, she had received a cryptic text from her mother which read, "I made a difficult decision, but it's better this way. I'm going to lose with Alison. I love you. Call Dad." The dad mentioned in the text referred to Francisco, Lydia's stepfather and Alison's biological father. While the message might have seemed strange to some, Lydia had experienced her mother's impulsive departures before. Marie-José had a history of suddenly taking off, leaving her family behind. So, when Alison and Marie-José failed to show up at the pageant meeting, Lydia initially believed that her mother had simply done it again. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that the disappearance of Alison and Marie-José is more than just a case of a mother's impulsive decision. The vague text message and the mounting concern from those who knew them best hint at a deeper, more complex story that has yet to be revealed. The tale of Alison and Marie-José Benitez is one of secrets and the consequences of keeping them hidden. It explores the lengths people go to maintain a facade and the impact their choices have on those around them. As the search for the missing mother and daughter begins, the story promises to unravel a tangled web of relationships, motives, and the ultimate price paid for secrecy. In the end, this story serves as a powerful reminder that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, has a way of coming to light. It is a cautionary tale about the importance of open communication, trust, and the need to confront the demons of one's past before they consume the present. As the mystery surrounding Alison and Marie-José's disappearance deepens, readers are left to ponder the age-old question, is the price of keeping secrets ever worth the cost? In the summer of 2013, a mystery began to unfold in France when 19-year-old Alison Benitez, a fierce competitor in the Miss Roussillon beauty pageant, and her mother, Marie-José Benitez, failed to show up for a crucial prep meeting less than a month before the contest. Cindy Philippiac, the pageant organizer and a former winner herself, couldn't help but notice Alison's absence, especially since the young contestant had checked in the day before to confirm the meeting time. As the minutes ticked by, concern grew among the other contestants who had become friends over the months of preparation. They knew Alison would never miss such an important event without notice, and being a teenager, her cell phone was practically an extension of her body. The fact that neither Alison nor her mother, who was known to be just as excited about the pageant, had communicated their absence was troubling. However, not everyone in Alison's life was aware of the full extent of the situation. Lydia, Marie-José's oldest daughter and Alison's sister, had received a cryptic text from her mother the evening before, which read, "I made a difficult decision, but it's better this way. I'm going to lose with Alison. I love you. Call Dad." The dad mentioned in the text referred to Francisco, Lydia's stepfather and Alison's biological father. Lydia, who lived in Béziers, about an hour north of Perpignan where her family resided, wasn't immediately alarmed by the message. Marie-José had a history of suddenly taking off, leaving her family behind, especially since she and Francisco had separated around 2 years ago. These impromptu trips, sometimes lasting up to 10 days, were believed to be Marie-José's way of keeping Francisco on his toes, despite the fact that they all still lived together. The family's living situation was complicated, but a resolution was on the horizon. Marie-José was set to move out in a couple of months, with Alison planning to join her due to their close bond. Francisco, who had a successful career in the French Foreign Legion, had agreed to pay for their new place. Until then, another last-minute trip didn't seem entirely out of the ordinary to Lydia. The closeness between Allison and her mother was evident to everyone who knew them. Allison's social media pages were filled with heartfelt messages from Marie-José, expressing her love and pride for her daughter. Allison reciprocated these sentiments, even affectionately referring to her mother as Mamonette d'amour, roughly translating to Mommy of Love, or Mommy My Love. Despite the seemingly normal circumstances surrounding Marie-José and Allison's absence, questions remained unanswered. Why hadn't Allison mentioned the trip to anyone from the pageant? And why hadn't they reached out to inform anyone of their plans? As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that there are two groups of people aware of Allison and Marie-José's absence, but under completely different circumstances. While the pageant community grew increasingly worried about their unexplained disappearance, Lydia, somewhat removed from her sister's daily life and pageant schedule, initially believed that her mother had simply taken off on another one of her impromptu trips. The destination mentioned in Marie-José's text, Toulouse, was a beautiful city located less than 3 hours away by car, not a distance typically associated with running away forever, but rather a possible day or weekend getaway. However, as time passed and no further communication came from either Allison or Marie-José, the mystery deepened, leaving everyone involved wondering what had truly happened to the mother-daughter duo. When Allison Benitez, a 19-year-old beauty pageant contestant, and her mother, Marie-José, failed to show up for a crucial prep meeting in the summer of 2013, it set off a chain of events that would leave their family and friends searching for answers. As a fierce competitor in the Miss Roussillon pageant, Allison's absence was immediately noticed by the organizer, Cindy Filipiak, and the other contestants who had become close friends over the months of preparation. While the pageant community grew increasingly concerned about Allison and Marie-José's unexplained disappearance, Allison's older sister Lydia, who lived about an hour away in Béziers, had a different perspective on the situation. The evening before the missed meeting, Lydia had received a cryptic text from her mother, stating that she had made a difficult decision and was going to Toulouse with Allison. The message ended with, "I love you. Call Dad," referring to Francisco, Lydia's stepfather and Allison's biological father. Initially, Lydia wasn't too alarmed by the text, as Marie-José had a history of taking impromptu trips, especially since separating from Francisco 2 years prior. These trips, sometimes lasting up to 10 days, were seen as Marie-José's way of keeping Francisco on his toes, despite the fact that they all still lived together in a complicated arrangement. With Marie-José and Allison planning to move out in a couple of months, and Francisco agreeing to pay for their new place, another last-minute getaway didn't seem entirely out of the ordinary to Lydia. The destination mentioned in the text, Toulouse, was a city that both Allison and Marie-José had expressed interest in, even discussing the possibility of finding jobs there. Although they had no family ties to the area, Lydia thought it made sense for them to visit before making a significant move, especially if they needed a break from the recent tension at home. Unbeknownst to Lydia, Allison had discovered private romantic messages between Francisco and a woman in Barcelona. When confronted, Francisco downplayed the situation, but he had confided in Lydia that he was deeply in love. This revelation added another layer to the complex family dynamics, even though Marie-José and Francisco had been separated for 2 years and were on the brink of living apart. As the days passed without any updates from Allison or Marie-José, Lydia and her other sister Roxanne began to worry. They tried calling and texting, but their attempts to communicate went unanswered. Checking Allison's social media pages only heightened their concern, as the usually active teenagers' accounts had gone silent. Francisco, when questioned about the situation, initially seemed unconcerned, stating that he and Marie-José had argued about bills, and she had told him the same thing she texted Lydia, that she and Allison were going to Toulouse. He even mentioned that they had packed suitcases before leaving. However, by July 22nd, nearly a week after their disappearance, Francisco's attitude shifted. He visited the police department, albeit briefly, to report their absence. The police, however, showed little interest in taking a report, as both Allison and Marie-José were adults. As the mystery deepened, those who knew Allison and Marie-José were left to wonder what had truly happened to the once inseparable mother-daughter duo. The lack of communication, the cryptic text message, and the complex family dynamics all pointed to a story far more intricate than a simple impromptu trip. The search for answers had only just begun, and the price of secrets, both kept and revealed, would soon become apparent to all those involved. As the investigation into Allison and Marie-José's disappearance intensified, authorities began to notice several inconsistencies in Francisco's account of events. When Lydia finally convinced him to return to the police station on July 25th, a full 11 days after the mother and daughter were last heard from, Francisco claimed that he had been worried about their well-being from the very beginning, starting on July 15th. He even asserted that he had attempted to search for them on his own, a detail that came as a surprise to Lydia. However, Allison's best friend came forward with information that contradicted Francisco's story. The friend told investigators that he had stopped by the family's apartment looking for Allison on either July 16th or 17th, after Francisco claimed he had already begun his search. During this visit, Francisco assured the concerned friend that there was no reason to worry, stating that Allison and Marie-José were in Toulouse and had simply turned off their phones. This inconsistency raised red flags among the investigators, as both accounts could not be true simultaneously. As the police delved deeper into the case, they uncovered more puzzling details. Not only had Allison and Marie-José's phones remained inactive since July 14th, but there was also no trace of their online presence or social media activity. Furthermore, their bank accounts showed no signs of any transactions, casting doubt on the idea that they were traveling. The notion of a trip to Toulouse began to unravel when investigators learned that the family car was still in Francisco's possession, and that neither woman held a driver's license. A thorough review of CCTV footage from the local train station revealed no evidence of Allison or Marie-José boarding any form of public transportation to Toulouse or any other destination. The mounting inconsistencies and lack of concrete evidence prompted investigators to issue a national broadcast at the end of July, appealing to the public for assistance in locating the missing women. Although a few potential sightings were reported, they ultimately proved to be false leads, leaving the authorities no closer to unraveling the mystery. It wasn't until August 1st, more than 2 weeks after Allison and Marie-José's disappearance, that investigators finally turned their attention to the family's apartment. The delay in searching the residence raised questions about the handling of the case and the potential loss of critical evidence. However, when forensic technicians meticulously combed through the apartment during a 5-hour-long search, they found no indications of foul play. The absence of any clear signs of a crime scene within the apartment only deepened the mystery surrounding Allison and Marie-José's disappearance. As the days turned into weeks, the investigation seemed to stall, leaving their loved ones desperate for answers and clinging to the hope that the two women would be found safe and sound. The perplexing nature of the case, coupled with the inconsistencies in Francisco's statements and the lack of tangible evidence, fueled speculation among those following the story. Some began to question whether Allison and Marie-José had indeed left of their own accord, or if there was something more sinister at play. The once close-knit family found themselves under intense scrutiny, their every move and interaction dissected by investigators and the public alike. As the search for Allison and Marie-José continued, the toll on their family and friends became increasingly evident. Lydia, Roxanne, and the rest of their loved ones grappled with the emotional turmoil of not knowing what had happened to the vibrant young woman and her devoted mother. The pageant community, too, felt the weight of their absence, the excitement of the upcoming competition overshadowed by the concern for their missing friend and competitor. With each passing day, the hope of a quick resolution to the case began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of unease and frustration. The once promising leads dried up, and the investigation seemed to be at a standstill. As the authorities worked tirelessly to piece together the fragmented clues and conflicting accounts, those closest to Allison and Marie-José were left to wonder if they would ever learn the truth behind their shocking disappearance. The lack of evidence found during the initial search of the family's apartment, even 18 days after Allison and Marie-José's disappearance, raised concerns among those following the case. While investigators hadn't ruled out any possibilities, including voluntary disappearance or foul play, the absence of clear signs of a crime scene so long after the women were last seen left many questions unanswered. On August 4th, the emotional toll of the case became apparent when a video of Francisco, visibly distraught and weeping, was posted online. In the heart-wrenching clip, he declared his unconditional love for his daughter and expressed his hope for the safe return of both Allison and Marie-José. Francisco also alluded to the immense pressure he was under, stating that despite his efforts to hold himself together, he was on the verge of exploding. The raw emotion conveyed in the video, even to those who couldn't understand the language, was a clear indication of Francisco's fragile state. However, the true depth of his despair became evident the very next day when his warrant officer discovered Francisco's lifeless body in the barracks where he worked. The tragic news that he had died by suicide between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. on that fateful Monday morning sent shockwaves through the community and cast the video from the previous day in a new light, as it now seemed to serve as a sort of suicide note. Francisco's untimely death introduced a new set of troubling questions. While his emotional plea appeared sincere, it was unclear whether his devastation stemmed from the genuine disappearance of his wife and daughter, or from a guilty conscience, knowing more about their fate than he had let on. In the wake of this development, investigators publicly shifted their approach. The deputy prosecutor, speaking at a press conference on the day of Francisco's death, acknowledged that the chances of Allison and Maria Jose being alive had significantly diminished. He also hinted at the suspicions surrounding Francisco's involvement, stating that while it was difficult to accuse a dead person, the implications were clear. With Francisco gone, investigators found themselves without their primary witness and potential suspect. In an effort to uncover more information, they seized his cell phone and laptop and conducted another thorough search of the family's apartment. As these items underwent analysis, authorities also established a national tip line, hoping to find witnesses who could corroborate or refute elements of Francisco's account of events. The timing of the disappearances, coinciding with the traditional month-long vacation period in France, posed an additional challenge for investigators. Many residents of the area were away during this critical time, making it difficult to gather eyewitness accounts or piece together a clear timeline of the events leading up to Allison and Maria Jose's disappearance. As the investigation pressed on, the family and friends of the missing women grappled with the growing realization that the chances of a positive outcome were rapidly dwindling. The once hopeful search for a mother and daughter who had seemingly vanished without a trace had transformed into a desperate quest for answers, now overshadowed by the specter of Francisco's suicide. The community, once united in their efforts to bring Allison and Maria Jose home safely, found themselves divided and unsettled by the turn of events. Speculation ran rampant as people tried to make sense of the complex web of relationships, secrets, and possible motives that had led to this tragic situation. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the investigation continued, fueled by a determination to uncover the truth and bring closure to those who loved Allison and Maria Jose. The absence of the vibrant young woman and her devoted mother left an indelible mark on all those who knew them, a painful reminder of the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of secrets left unspoken. In the end, the story of Allison and Maria Jose's disappearance serves as a somber testament to the power of love, the depths of human emotion, and the far-reaching impact of our actions. As their loved ones continue to search for answers and to hold on to the memories of the two women who touched their lives in countless ways, the rest of us are left to ponder the lessons that can be gleaned from this heartbreaking tale. The importance of open communication, the need for empathy and understanding, and the eternal hope that even in the face of unspeakable tragedy, the truth will eventually come to light. As investigators delved deeper into the disappearances of Allison and Maria Jose, they began to uncover a pattern of unsettling behavior in Francisco's past. A tip from a man named Claude, who called on behalf of his 4 teenage children, shed light on a chilling similarity between the current case and the vanishing of another woman nearly a decade earlier. Back in 2004, when Francisco was stationed in the French city of Nîmes, he engaged in a passionate affair with Simone de Oliveira Alves, a 28-year-old Brazilian mother of 4. Despite being married and having a 10-year-old daughter, Allison at the time, Francisco deceived Simone by claiming he was single and childless. The relationship grew serious, with Francisco even acting as a stepfather figure to Simone's children for several months. However, their romance came to an abrupt end when Simone discovered the truth about Francisco's double life. According to Simone's sister, it was around this time that Simone disappeared without a trace, possibly carrying Francisco's child. An investigation was launched into her disappearance, but it quickly went cold, with the only clue being a text message Simone had sent Francisco on the evening of November 29, 2004, stating that she was leaving and not coming back. The striking similarities between Simone's case and the current disappearances of Allison and Maria Jose were not lost on investigators. Francisco's apparent pattern of involvement with women who vanished after sending him farewell messages, coupled with his own suicide just as the police were closing in on him, prompted authorities to reopen the 2004 case. As the investigation into Francisco's past continued, detectives received the results from the analysis of his electronic devices. One particular call piqued their interest, a conversation with a woman named Maria Teresa in Spain, which took place just before Francisco ended his life. It was later confirmed that Maria Teresa was the same woman Allison had discovered her father communicating with prior to the disappearances. When questioned, Maria Teresa revealed that she had a romantic rendezvous with Francisco at the family apartment not long after Allison and Marie Jose had supposedly left. The timing of this encounter, believed to be around July 19th, was particularly significant as it occurred before the mother and daughter were officially reported missing. Although Maria Teresa was unaware of any wrongdoing at the time of her visit, she now recalled a detail that she had initially overlooked, but which might prove crucial to the investigation. This new piece of information added another layer of complexity to the already perplexing case, as investigators scrambled to make sense of Francisco's actions and the events leading up to his suicide. The revelation of Francisco's history of deception and the recurring theme of women disappearing after becoming involved with him painted a disturbing picture. As the police worked to connect the dots between the past and present cases, the families of Allison, Marie Jose, and Simone grappled with the harsh reality that their loved ones may have fallen victim to a man they once trusted. The community, already shaken by the tragic event, found itself further unsettled by the mounting evidence of Francisco's duplicitous nature. The image of a grieving husband and father, desperately searching for his missing wife and daughter, began to crumble under the weight of the emerging truth. As the investigation pressed forward, fueled by a renewed sense of urgency, those closest to Allison, Marie Jose, and Simone clung to the hope that the truth would finally be uncovered and that justice would be served, even if it came too late to bring their loved ones back. The story of these women's disappearances serves as a poignant reminder of the devastating impact of secrets and lies, and the importance of remaining vigilant in the face of even the most charming and persuasive individuals. As the authorities worked tirelessly to piece together the fragments of Francisco's past and unravel the mystery surrounding Allison and Marie Jose's fate, the rest of us were left to reflect on the lessons that could be learned from this heart-wrenching tale. In the end, the legacy of Allison, Marie Jose, and Simone lives on through the unwavering determination of those who refuse to let their stories be forgotten. Their lives, cut short by the actions of a man they trusted, serve as a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unbreakable bonds of love and family. As the search for answers continues, we are reminded of the importance of seeking truth, supporting one another, and never giving up hope in the face of even the darkest of circumstances. Maria Teresa's revelation about the disturbing smell she had noticed in Francisco's apartment during her visit on July 19th added a new layer of suspicion to the investigation. At the time, she had accepted Francisco's explanation that the odor was simply coming from the neighbor's garbage, despite the fact that the bathroom window was closed. However, in light of the recent events, investigators began to suspect that the smell might have been something far more sinister. The possibility that Allison and Marie Jose's bodies could have been in the apartment around the time of Maria Teresa's visit raised questions about the timing of the official search, which took place nearly 20 days after the women were last seen. Had the authorities acted sooner, perhaps on the 11th day when Francisco was compelled to report them missing, they might have discovered crucial evidence before it was too late. As the investigation expanded to include the facilities Francisco had access to through his work with the French Foreign Legion, new and disturbing details began to emerge. Colleagues from the barracks revealed that Francisco had been engaging in bizarre behavior in the days following his wife and daughter's disappearance. One witness reported helping Francisco transport a freezer from the family's home to the barracks on July 17th, claiming that Francisco had suddenly decided to donate the appliance to the French Foreign Legion. During this visit, the colleague noticed a thick red liquid clogging the sink in the apartment, but made no further inquiries at the time. Once the freezer arrived at the barracks, Francisco insisted on giving it a thorough cleaning, a peculiar priority given the circumstances. Another soldier came forward with an even more unsettling account, recalling an encounter with Francisco as he was washing what appeared to be blood-stained sheets and a floor mat. When questioned about the nature of the stains, Francisco simply replied, "I thought meat," an explanation that made little sense and only served to heighten suspicions. Upon learning of these incidents, investigators immediately sought to examine the freezer, which was still located at the barracks. Forensic tests revealed traces of Allison's blood within the appliance, a chilling discovery that pointed to the young woman's fate. Further analysis of a washing machine frequently used by Francisco uncovered additional DNA evidence, definitively linking Allison and possibly Marie-José to the scene. The mounting evidence against Francisco painted a grim picture of what might have transpired in the days leading up to his suicide. As investigators worked to piece together the timeline of events and gather more concrete proof, the families of Allison and Marie-José were left to grapple with the unthinkable possibility that their loved ones had met a tragic end at the hands of the man they once trusted. The revelation of Francisco's past, including the disappearance of Simón de Oliveira Alves in 2004, only served to compound the sense of betrayal and horror felt by those who knew him. The emerging pattern of deception and violence cast a dark shadow over the investigation, as the authorities raced against time to uncover the truth and bring closure to the grieving families. As the case continued to unfold, the community remained in a state of shock and disbelief, struggling to come to terms with the idea that such a heinous act could have been committed by one of their own. The story of Allison and Marie-José's disappearance, now inextricably linked to the tragic fate of Simón, served as a sobering reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly ordinary lives. In the face of such unspeakable tragedy, the resilience and determination of those who loved Allison, Marie-José, and Simón shone through. United in their grief and their unwavering commitment to justice, they vowed to keep the memories of these vibrant, loving women alive, and to ensure that their stories would not be forgotten. As the investigation pressed on, fueled by the tireless efforts of law enforcement and the unyielding support of the community, the search for answers continued. Though the road ahead was long, and the wounds left by this tragedy would never fully heal, there remained a glimmer of hope that, in the end, the truth would be brought to light, and that some measure of peace might be found for those left behind. The story of Allison, Marie-José, and Simón stands as a testament to the enduring power of love, the unbreakable bonds of family, and the indomitable human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. It is a reminder that, even in our darkest hours, we must never lose sight of the light that guides us forward, and the hope that someday, justice will be served. As the investigation into the disappearances of Allison and Marie-José continued, more disturbing evidence came to light. Another colleague from the French Foreign Legion reported seeing Francisco washing his hands in the barracks bathroom, leaving the sink stained with red marks. It didn't take much imagination to conclude that he had been washing blood off his hands. At this point, any hope of finding the women alive had faded, and the focus of the investigation shifted to recovering their remains. The case was officially reclassified as a homicide investigation in early September, a grim acknowledgement of the likely fate that had befallen Allison and Marie-José. Using geolocation data from Francisco's devices and reconstructing the GPS information from his car, investigators determined that he had made 3 separate trips to the nearby resort town of Lucate in the days following the women's disappearance, specifically between July 14th and 17th. This information led search teams to focus their efforts on the town's water treatment plants, as well as the surrounding pine forests and foothills, starting on September 10th. The timing of these trips, coupled with the lingering odor detected in the apartment by Francisco's girlfriend on July 19th, raised questions about the exact timeline of events. While the evidence suggested that the women's remains had been dumped between the 14th and the 17th, the persistent smell in the apartment days later hinted at a more complex sequence of events that investigators were still working to unravel. The search efforts faced a setback on September 12th when the limited number of cadaver dogs available in the country were called away to another mission. It wasn't until September 24th that the dogs returned, accompanied by dive teams tasked with searching the water treatment plants. The conditions faced by these divers were incredibly challenging, as they had to navigate through aeration basins filled with a substance described as having the texture and density of molasses. Despite the daunting nature of the search, an engineer familiar with the project suggested that the thick, swampy liquid might actually prove beneficial if any remains were discovered, as it could potentially slow down the decomposition process. However, despite the tireless efforts of the search teams, no trace of Allison or Marie-José's remains was found in the aeration basins, nearby bodies of water, foothills, or pine forests. By October 30th, the search was officially called off, leaving investigators frustrated and the families devastated. The absence of the women's remains, despite the compelling evidence pointing to their fate, served as a painful reminder that a crucial piece of the puzzle was still missing. In the months that followed, there was discussion of revisiting the water treatment plants the following summer, and possibly even having them drained to conduct a more thorough search. However, these plans were ultimately abandoned due to technical issues, and the case gradually grew cold. The disappearances of Allison, Marie-Jose, and Simone, now forever linked to the enigmatic and troubled figure of Francisco, became a haunting reminder of the unanswered questions and unresolved grief that can plague even the most dedicated investigations. For the families and loved ones left behind, the lack of closure was an open wound, a constant ache that refused to heal. As the years passed, the story of these women faded from the headlines, but it never disappeared from the hearts of those who knew and loved them. The memories of Allison's vibrant spirit, Marie-Jose's unwavering devotion, and Simone's infectious laughter lived on, a testament to the indelible impact they had made on the lives of those around them. Though the road ahead was uncertain and the pain of loss never fully subsided, the families and friends of Allison, Marie-Jose, and Simone refused to let their stories be forgotten. They continued to search for answers, to fight for justice, and to keep the memories of their loved ones alive, hoping that someday the truth would finally be revealed and a measure of peace could be found. In the end, the tragic tale of these women serves as a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. It is a story of love, loss, and the unbreakable bonds that tie us together, even in the darkest of times. And though the path forward may be shrouded in uncertainty, there remains a flicker of hope that, one day, the light of truth will shine through, illuminating the way to healing and closure for all those who have been touched by this haunting mystery. Just when it seemed that all hope was lost, a new lead emerged in September 2016, 3 years after the disappearances of Allison and Marie-Jose. Eric, Marie-Jose's brother, was contacted on social media by a woman who had been vacationing on a beach near Leucate, another coastal town in close proximity to Perpignan, where the family resided. The woman shared a shocking story from her holiday back in the summer of 2014 or April 2015, according to another source. She recounted how her dog had dug up what appeared to be human bones while they were on the beach. It was unclear why she hadn't reported the discovery immediately, but the information was enough to reinvigorate the investigation. Investigators wasted no time in descending upon the beach in 2016, determined to excavate the area where the bones had been found. To their surprise, they uncovered additional bones, and for a fleeting moment it seemed as though the remains of Marie-Jose and Allison had finally been discovered. The glimmer of hope was short-lived, however, as the analysis of the bones concluded just days later that they belonged to an animal, not a human. This devastating blow served as a harsh reminder of the secrets that Francisco had taken to his grave back in 2013. The answers to the questions that had haunted the families for years remained buried with him, leaving them with nothing but theories and speculation. One such theory, put forth by Eric in 2015, suggested that the women might have never left the apartment building, dead or alive. He posited that their remains could be hidden in a crawl space beneath the building's garage, which contained an old septic tank filled with sand. Eric was so convinced of this possibility that his lawyer filed a formal request for the area to be searched, but the appeal was ignored by the authorities. While the crawl space theory might have explained the lingering odor in the apartment and the puzzling timeline of events, accessing the area proved to be a significant challenge. Police maintained that even with his military training, Francisco would have been unable to conceal the bodies there without leaving some trace of evidence behind. Nonetheless, the idea persisted, fueled by the desperate need for answers and closure. As for the reopened investigation into Simone's disappearance, it appears that no significant progress was made. To this day, the families of Simone, Marie-Jose, and Allison are left with the agonizing reality of not knowing what happened to their loved ones. All they can do is wait and hope that someday the long-buried truth will find its way to the surface, and the secrets that have eluded them for so long will finally be revealed. Francisco's death dealt a devastating blow to the case, leaving a gaping void where justice should have been served. The lack of closure, the unanswered questions, and the unresolved grief continue to haunt the families and friends of the missing women, a constant reminder of the pain that comes with loving someone and losing them to the unknown. In the face of such heartbreak, the resilience and determination of those left behind stand as a testament to the enduring power of love and the unbreakable bonds of family. They continue to carry the memories of Simone, Marie-Jose, and Allison in their hearts, refusing to let their stories fade away, and holding on to the hope that someday, the truth will come to light. As the years pass and the world moves on, the legacy of these women lives on through the tireless efforts of those who refuse to let their disappearances be forgotten. Their stories serve as a poignant reminder of the importance of never giving up, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, and the power of the human spirit to persevere through even the darkest of times. Though the road ahead is uncertain and the pain of loss may never fully subside, the families and friends of Simone, Marie-José, and Allison continue to draw strength from the love they shared and the memories they hold dear. They find solace in the knowledge that, though their loved ones may be gone, they will never be forgotten, and that their stories will continue to inspire others to fight for truth, justice, and closure, no matter how long it takes. In the end, the story of these women is one of love, loss, and the unbreakable bonds that tie us together, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of hope to light the way forward, even in our darkest hours. And though the path may be long and the journey difficult, there remains the unwavering belief that one day the truth will be known and the healing can begin.